Episode 34 of the Hot Stove, presented by the Cup Mets podcast. I'm Ian Bosniak, joined alongside by Matty DeSantis. Matt, Happy New Year. How we doing?
Happy New Year, brother. This is the first episode where you're a married man. Congratulations. Um,
Got the bling on my finger. Thank you. Thank you.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, man.
Yeah.
Hope you guys had a good time and had a good honeymoon.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I mean, for those who follow us on Instagram, I was glad that we were able to get that group photo in. I mean, you couldn't come, unfortunately, because you got stuck at the office, and it's a great job though, so we don't want to, we don't want to diss that.
yeah,
But
that
yeah,
sucked.
you couldn't come, but we were able to get a nice shot with Rob, and but Rob's also sick, along with like everybody else. I feel like there's so many things going on around right
Oh
now.
God,
I
so many.
actually, no joke, I'm not kidding. I think like 25% of, no, I'm probably exaggerating, but it feels like that many people have gotten sick from my wedding. They were all ill after.
Sure. I
Yeah,
mean, walking around my office, all you see is people with masks on, sneezing, coughing. I'm like, yeah,
I know.
stay away from you guys.
The
I know
weather outside is cold, but things are things are heating up a little bit. I want to say
a little bit, I guess.
a little bit, but what I think you're gonna see occur is right now there's arbitration filings that are all due on Thursday, and then they're gonna go through those proceedings. And I think
Hmm.
right after that, that's when some deals are going to come to fruition. But in the interim, since we all last spoke, which I think was the 24th, or oh, that was the episode that kind of blew up in our face when we recorded, and then Rob and I recorded a second take of episode 33, the last one. But since we last spoke, just a few quick notes, just league wide. We're gonna go league wide, cup of MLB. All right.
Yeah.
Corbin Burns. Who the hell saw this? Corbin Burns went to Arizona, and I'm gonna be completely honest with you, dude. If I would have known that he would have taken 6 years, I would have went for him.
Dude, I'm pretty sure that was like, wasn't that known?
No,
That he,
they were saying
yeah,
like 7 or 8 because Freed ended up getting 8.
yeah. Well, that free deal is gonna look terrible come 2 years,
I know, but
maybe
I'm
even
like,
next year.
I know. I also heard that it was kind of like I mean, and there was reports that it was kind of like a maybe like a little bit of a Madison Bumgarner situation as well. Corbin Burns is from that area, so kind of wanted to go over there. But dude, going to the
Dude,
Diamondbacks,
no state income tax, like might as well.
I know we should all
Or
move
the
there.
other teams that were heavily in on him were the Red Sox, which is a heavy income tax state.
Oh yeah, yeah, and
Red
it,
Sox get no one.
yeah, the Red Sox, the Red Sox struggling a little bit. Walker Buehler seems to be the only fish that they could catch thus far this offseason. But again, it's far from over. But Corbin Burns, as I mentioned, he gets 6 years for $210 million. That's $35 million annually. Again, I would have dabbled had I known, but this has just been a weird off season because everyone's
Yeah.
been getting paid an arm and a leg. But the first couple moves that you saw was a Luis Severino get $22 million a year for 3 years, and then Blake Snell get like 36 mil a year for 5 years, and you're just like, oh shit, everyone's gonna pay an arm and a leg. And as the off season has gone on, I'm not gonna say praises have necessarily dropped, but expectations have kind of, I'm not gonna say withered, but I mean, listen, Corbin still got his cash. Don't get me wrong, but I was thinking 7 or 8 years, and that's where I was like, no, but 5, 6, I would have been down.
Oh, 100%. 100%. He's a good pitcher, that's for sure. We could have used him.
Absolutely. Absolutely. He would have looked great in the rotation. And another team that you forgot to mention there when we were talking about teams that struck out on Corbin Burns was, the San Francisco Giants. And there are a lot of reasons why people don't
Yeah.
want to go to the Giants, but
Did you
guess
see that they signed fucking Verlander
that's where I
today?
was going. That's where I was
Yeah.
going. $15 million. Former Met watch. There he is.
Wow.
Listen, I'm gonna be honest. I really enjoyed watching Justin Verlander pitch for the Mets, and there was no type of like bad exit. As far as like when Scherzer was talking about how Cohen went back on his word, this, that, and the third. Verlander wasn't there as long, but I feel like he, despite the injuries, he collected himself well, represented the organization well, and obviously we got some nice pieces back for him. So not complaining there. But yeah, he goes to the Giants on a 1 year, $15 million contract. $15 million. I mean, we got Montes at $17 million, and he's much more of a
Yeah.
I'm knocking on wood here, but he's much more of like yeah, he's probably going to give you 150 innings. So I'll take 17 over the 15. And then something like Michael Lorenzen, he signed with the Royals earlier today, but for $7 million 1 year, and he had a really really strong second half at
Yeah.
age 33, and that's what I'm just saying. It's just confusing that some players are everyone's just being valued differently by different organizations.
Yeah, I feel like that usually tends to happen during free agency unless you have like your, splash moves like Soto. But we've been quiet since then.
It has been. It has been. But I think that it's been a approach that again the Mets roster is far from complete, and we know this, but I think it's something where the approach hopefully will pay off as you're starting to see some of these guys sign. And again, hopefully the next time we come to you, there's more to report on that front. But last note there, the Dodgers also traded Gavin Lux, who he helped out those Dodgers in that beautiful eighth inning of Game Five of the World Series to help the Dodgers secure the World Series win over the Yankees. He heads to Cincinnati for Mike Sirota and a compensation pick. So there's that. And
Which I was reading in on to note the Dodgers can flip that pick for international money. So
oh, there it is. There it is.
you know who that international money is for.
Yeah, we already know what's coming. We already know what's coming, and we'll dive
Yeah.
into that because
That's
that one's.
why I did not put him on my checklist.
I know, I know. One could hope. That's why Rob just prayed. That's why Rob just prayed that Roki Sasaki would choose the Mets again. You know, nothing's occurred yet on that front, but there are reports and there are inklings around the league. But with that, the Dodgers also then went ahead and signed Hae-Sung Kim, the Korean second, like middle infielder.
Yeah, he's everything I heard.
Yeah, yeah, he's everything. He's an excellent hitter. 12.5 million over 3 years. So, the Dodgers, I feel like they have 35 to 36 major league baseball players that all have to fit onto their active roster somehow. And I feel like all of them will contribute. It's incredible that the Dodgers just
Yeah.
build a 40 man and every single player is utilized in some capacity.
Bro, they DFA'd the catching prospect Diego Cartaya.
Yeah.
Like I'm curious if anybody picked him up yet.
Yeah, no,
He was top 10 prospect in baseball 2 years ago.
yeah, I know it's crazy how they can fall. I mean, we've we've seen it with some of the Mets prospects.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, but um, just based off of that, you mentioned the international money and this, that, and the third.
It's e-
Since the
yeah,
last time we met, the Mets did meet in person with Roki Sasaki. They were one of the handful of teams that got the opportunity to meet with him in person. Only good things came from the meeting, but there are reports going on circulating throughout the league that there's industry speculation that Roki will not be a New York Met. No teams have been eliminated or anything along those lines, but I think it's a given he's going to the Dodgers.
yeah, and I would like to think that maybe we're in the running, but either way, we're gonna sign Elian Pena on the 15th if Roki Sasaki isn't coming to the Mets, and that's pretty damn good.
Yeah,
So
I mean that.
he's number three overall.
Yeah, dude,
Like,
it boost our farm system tremendously. It's a great way to allocate those
yeah,
resources, especially when you miss out on somebody like Sasaki. That's a great fallback. It just sucks because Sasaki is one of those pieces where you look at the Mets rotation and they have two really good pitchers, and then they have a bunch of like good four or fives in rotations for championship caliber teams, and you're going to look at a 6 man rotation. So just thinking about a potential of adding Sasaki in there, and knowing the potential that not only he has, but the fact that many believe that he could come onto the scene like Paul Skeens did last year and make an impact at the level, instantly. Sucks that he probably won't be a Met. I think we can just count that out. But the Mets will continue to try to find starting pitching because apparently they're still looking. Names haven't really gone out there. You brought up Kyle Gibson.
Yeah.
You like the innings eater?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like he gives you somewhat of a little bit of a guarantee of what you can get. Yeah,
Yeah.
you know.
I
You
also
you
don't.
know what you're gonna get.
I also don't have his numbers in front of me, but I'm pretty sure he had like a little over a four FIP last year
He
in
had a
with St.
pretty
Louis. You know what I mean?
he had a pretty decent year.
Yeah, dude, he's a durable pitcher. He's a durable pitcher. I just wonder, my thing is just when you look at the rotation right now, it's definitely going to be a 6 man. So you're looking at Mania, Sanga, Montes, Peterson, Holmes, and Blackburn, Griffin Canning in the bullpen, and then Tyler McGill in the
Yeah.
minors. It's just you just kind of wonder how many 4 5s are they going to bring in, and Kyle Gibson probably would be a four on a really really good team.
So
You know
he
what I
had a
mean?
4.42 FIP.
4.42.
He
What
was
was
he
his
was
ERA?
he was 8-8 with a 4.24 ERA.
Okay, yeah, that's what I saw.
170 innings.
170?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one thing. If you add in that factor, then you
He's
get
he's
170
gone
innings.
over 170 for the past 3 seasons.
Hmm.
And then in 2021 he was an all-star
See,
when
that all sounds excellent, and there's no reason for me to believe that he would fall off the wagon and not be able to
yeah.
put up those numbers or put up those innings. But the Mets have already done a lot of patching to their rotation where
Hmm.
it seems like only one more signee can occur. And it's, do you want to make it a big splash? Granted, there's not many more out there unless you trade for one. Or
Who's
is it going to
really
be another 4 or 5?
yeah, who's really the big splash that you can get for cash?
I mean, right now you're looking at I mean, the best arm is Jack Flaherty. That's currently out there. And Jack Flaherty would be a nice addition. That's another guy that has A, dealt with injuries before. B,
I feel like declining.
yeah, yeah, he's also going, you feel like declining on Flaherty.
No, I feel like he's declining, like his like velocity is declining.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, his stuff varies at times, I feel like, and now I kind of want to get his numbers up here. But I mean that's kind of like the cream of the current free agent crop right now. The other guys would be someone, along the lines of it, and that's the reason why I laughed initially. Yeah, his fastball velo was in the 35th percentile, 93.2 miles per hour. But in 2023, it was 93 miles per hour. All right, listen, he's never been a hard thrower, but again, to me, the injuries are an issue. He also, this past season, great whiff percentage, great K rate, didn't walk batters, got hitters to chase. So I think Jack Flaherty would be a good addition. My only question is after a season like last year where 1.07 whip, 317 ERA, won a World Series, what is he going to expect? Obviously, it's later on in the winter. Some players are lowering their demands, but that's just a question that I would have. But I think that would be my I would definitely sign Flaherty. It just depends on how much. I would give him $17 million for a few years, but that's where I would go with that.
Yeah, I don't think he would be accept. I'm not sure if he's accepting Montes money.
Yeah, yeah. And again, though, I'm looking around at
You have to think he's probably in Bueller territory.
Well, it's funny is that right before you said that, I was about to say, oh, there's a perfect team to sign him. There's the Red Sox. The Red Sox
Yeah,
have swung and missed that some of the big fish. Why not spend your money, toss it at Jack Flaherty? He's a great pitcher, don't get me wrong, but
the Sox rotation is solid, man. They need it. They just need a couple, and their farm system's good, but you can't always rely on that.
yeah. Also, Nick Pavetta's still available, but a qualifying offer is attached to him.
Yeah, and the Mets draft picks, I'm pretty sure these next years are going to be dropped like 20 slots because of how much money they spent.
Yeah, and how much money they're going to spend in the
Yeah.
next few off
We're
seasons.
still 75 million away from where we were last year.
I know. So there's
So
a
if you
ton.
think about if Steve wants to spend the same amount of money, what could we let's do a little exercise. What could we brainstorm to get to 75 million to get to the same exact payroll as last year?
Oh, geez.
I guess 20 to Alonso.
Yeah, you start with 20 to $23 million to Alonso. You go, I don't know, bro. I guess maybe you sign Anthony Santander or Alex Bregman. I mean, Bregman obviously much higher AAV and more years, but I'm just trying to accumulate the price. But
Yeah.
but dude, the funny thing is I'm not crunching the numbers, but I think that would still give you enough flexibility to sign a Jack Flaherty
Or Tanner Scott, probably depending on which route you wanted to go.
or a Tanner Scott. Yeah, so I think that was a good exercise. I think we put a couple pieces together because again, right now in the offseason there aren't a million players out there that are worth $20 million. So it's hard to, stack them all up. But speaking of Tanner Scott, the Mets have met with Tanner Scott. Maddie, I know that you have been begging for the Mets to pursue Tanner. There are definitely a few other teams that are in the running, and there is nothing that says that the Mets are the front runners. But what an addition Tanner Scott would be.
Oh, it'd be incredible. And Diaz has a opt out next year. So you if he lights it up, he might opt out again. Tanner Scott though, he's gonna be around 20 to 22 AAV, I think.
You'd have to think.
Like I
Yeah.
think he's gonna get like low key like starter money.
I mean, bro, his last two seasons have been tremendous.
But I would rather honestly the Mets do like 2 years, like 48 million with him, like just to keep it shorter. Because if you go to 5 years with him, I'm not too sure he's
I'm
holding up for five.
I'm not opposed to that. I'm not
Yeah.
opposed to that because that's only $24 million annually. I mean, listen, the last two seasons, 2023 with Miami, pitch appeared in 74 games,
Yep.
231 ERA, 217 FIP.
Knows our division, and some nights he can close. Like,
Yeah, and then this past year, split between Miami and San Diego, 22 saves in 72 games, 175 ERA.
yeah, no, he's
Posted a lower
he's
WAR.
good.
But the other thing too is, and this is something that you don't see often. Again, it definitely you see it more with relievers, but he had his highest average fastball velocity since 2018 with the Orioles. So again, I'm not saying that he's going to come out here and light it up in terms of velo, but he's a swing and miss guy. He doesn't put guys on base. I mean, listen, he can be a little erratic at times, but if you think about what Edwin Diaz was last year,
Yeah.
to have somebody like Tanner Scott that to slide in rather than an Adam Ottavino or Jose Budo who just learned the bullpen, right?
Well, isn't Otto gone?
Yeah, he is. But what I'm saying is that
Oh
was
yeah.
what we were looking at last year.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Diaz would falter and struggle, and you go, all right, it's Adam Ottavino or it's Reed Garrett who was never a closer before, or Jose Budo who just got moved to the rotation, or Daniel Nunez who just came out of nowhere, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what we were dealing with, and somehow we managed to get to where we did. But
Hmm.
I think that there should be a lot more emphasis, obviously, on bringing in relievers and the fact that they are entertaining Tanner Scott. They met with Tanner Scott, somebody of that caliber,
Yeah. I mean,
and
because
and
they're willing to spend the money. They've shown they're talking to Bregman, they're talking to anybody they can really talk to. I mean, are they in on Santander?
there was interest, I believe, in the beginning of it.
Where would you even play him?
You, you would plug him in at
Yeah,
DH or
you're
the
pretty much paying 20 plus million AAV for literally a DH.
yeah, and the thing is, it wouldn't make sense because obviously you'll see Soto get some reps
The fans would
at
go
DH, but
nuts. Imagine
yeah,
imagine the Mets signed Santander before Pete. It would go
oh
nuts.
oh yeah, but that's the thing. It's like Santander is definitely intriguing when you're looking at him, but at the same time, when you look at the roster construction, unless the Mets are magically able to trade Starling Marte and open up another outfield slot,
Yeah.
it's kind of going to be difficult. Now, if when you look at when you kind of look at the question that you posed before, how do we accumulate $75 million to where the Mets were last year? We don't really even need to. But when we're talking about those two big fish, and yes, they are talking to Bregman, and they had been in touch with Santander. But if you go out and you get Alonso and you get Tanner Scott, you're probably only looking at like 40 something $1 million annually for the both of them.
Yeah. I mean, that's realistically how much they're. It's depending on how much they're trying to tie up into big deals.
Exactly.
You want to hope that your farm system is gonna, step in at some point.
And yeah, sure, Drew Gilbert, somebody like Drew Gilbert has dropped in some prospect rankings, but you have to say to yourself that you A, want to give him a chance, and B, you know that you have impact players knocking at the door. So someone like Santander wouldn't necessarily make sense. And that's why I do think when you look at the construction of the roster right now in the offseason, if we miss out on Alonso, which, we'll discuss to wrap up the episode in a little bit. But if we miss out on Alonso, sure, then you pivot to a Bregman, or maybe you really just do try to dump Marte and you bring in Santander to bring in some more power and to give Soto and Vientos and Lindor some more protection. But right now, I think that you have to focus on the bullpen and you have to focus on bringing Pete back in a fashion that is not only of his liking, but that caters to the Mets. And that's kind of like where I stand currently. I mean, we could talk about all these different scenarios, but again, sure, if the Mets miss out on Pete Alonso, then we're talking about something different. But
Pete's got a. I don't know. He definitely lost himself a lot of money betting on himself.
he fucked up.
Yeah. And now I feel like this shit's getting into an ugly stage.
It's getting into a stage I think that's more ugly for him and Scott Boras. I really think that David Stearns is chilling, comfy on a couch, sipping on a glass of whiskey, just I think that he's relaxed. And I don't think that he's gonna go crazy or pull trigger or anything like that unless Steve Cohen starts hammering him. I think that this is gonna be a staring contest. And I don't think David Stearns is gonna blink.
Yeah. I
you know
mean,
and and
he'll still wait for his number.
yeah, and the reports have been coming out that he's been more and more willing to take a shorter term deal, and we spoke about that on a previous episode. That's something that we'd really be interested in. At first he wanted that 6 7 year deal, and we're like, hell no, he's an aging first baseman coming off the worst year of his career.
Yeah.
But now you're looking at somebody who might take a 3 or 4 year deal with an opt out, maybe at a little bit of a higher AAV than he's been offered this offseason, then you're cooking, dude.
Yeah.
Then you are absolutely cooking. And that's the route not only that the Mets need to take, but that I think they should take. And there was a report that came out today from Ken Rosenthal that Scott Boras has been looking for Prince Fielder type money for Pete Alonso, and it's just not there. And a lot of people within the industry have mentioned that any demand or any requests to try and exceed the value that some of the other first basemen out there have gotten in years past, like Olson, like Goldschmidt, like Freeman, it's ridiculous, and teams aren't biting whatsoever. So right now, considering the ball kind of is in the Mets court and a lot of other teams that had first base holes have filled their positions, but unless some team comes out of nowhere, and I'm going to say the Red Sox again because they just have the money, they're kind of like the Giants, just nobody wants to go there. Unless like the Red Sox toss out money or the Angels opt to, who have reported interest in Alonso as well, I truly do think that he is going to be a New York Met, whether it's sooner or later.
Yeah, me too. So it's gotta wait for it all to work itself out.
And something that you can do there is you could do 4 years at $96 million for him. That's $24 million a year. Or you could do 4 years at $26 million and he gets $104 million over 4 years. There's a lot of different things that you can do, but it's kind of like what you said earlier about Tanner Scott. It would be nice to have him at 2 years, $48 million. It would be so nice to have Pete Alonso locked in for the rest of that prime of his career at a rate that you say to yourselves, "Oh, we're not going to be kicking ourselves in
Yeah.
whatever year it is when he's 37, 38 years old and we're still paying him $25 million."
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's just where they're at. And outside of that, I mean, there's not much more on the front, right?
No, nothing really much.
I mean, the biggest news has been the fact that the Mets have met with Tanner Scott, that Pete Alonso is willing to take a shorter term deal. Some other teams have some interest, but it looks like he's going to come back to the Mets. Knock on wood. Hopefully, we'll be talking
Yeah.
about that soon. Um, but something that I did want to ask you, and this is how I wanted to wrap up because I've been thinking about this right now. If the season started today,
Mm-hmm.
given what teams have done in the offseason, where do you think the Mets stand in the National League? Not in the East, but just where do you think they stand in the National League? And I was trying to think about that.
Mm. So then you really have to think how much the Mets, what they lost and how much they improved. How much would you say the Mets improved? I would
Well,
say, I would say you throw in Soto, you're already improving by a wide margin. But
right.
then you
Then
really look at the pitching staff. I can't say if we improved or not.
it's a weird pitching staff.
Yeah, it is. Like it's either gonna go good or it's gonna go really bad.
Absolutely.
Like there's not gonna be any in between.
No. Yeah. I think the Mets rank somewhere near in the National League. I
Six or like 6 to 10.
Whoa, dude.
What?
You're gonna get some hate for that, bro. You're gonna get some hate for that. I don't think so. I think you're looking at the Dodgers obviously are number
Or
one.
maybe like
I think they're 4 or 5.
I was gonna say maybe
I like I like the Dodgers, obviously. No shit. They're your MLB the Show team. Okay. You like your Dodgers. The
still
Phillies,
got Braves are gonna come back healthier.
Braves are gonna come back healthier. There's three. The Padres lost a little bit and they are potentially looking to trade Dylan Cease.
Yeah, I think that's all smoke.
Yeah, that's all smoke, but they've also been talking to teams about Luis Ariz.
Yeah, but I could see them trading him.
But if they trade him, not only is that a 300 plus hitter, again, he doesn't do a lot of else outside of being a slap hitter like that. But when you look at the rest, like I was looking at their depth chart earlier, it's not as now if Jackson Merrill repeats, then what he did last year, then it's a different story. But they're not as deep as they were last year, I feel if when you look at them. But the Padres, and that's why the Padres are where I kind of draw the line. I think that the Mets are above the Brewers, you would have to say. The Diamondbacks, I think, are sneaky. Maybe they might be in
I
that
think the
five,
Cubs
six,
might be
seven.
okay.
Maybe the Mets might be like sixth.
Yeah, don't call me fucking crazy. I
I
don't
didn't
think
call you
anybody.
crazy. I just said that you were gonna.
I don't think anybody's gonna roast me.
No, huh?
I'm
Yeah,
like, huh.
that's a good thought to think. All
Yeah.
right, Maddie, got anything else for us? You look
No,
exhausted, brother.
I am exhausted. So
Long day.
very long day. So you gotta just go chill out and hope that wake up in Tanner Scott's a Met.
Wouldn't that be lovely? Yeah.
That or Pete or something.
Yeah,
Some
within
solution.
absolutely. This is our first episode in 2 weeks since Christmas Eve, and hopefully the next time that we record within the next couple days, whether it be a week from now, somebody else has been added to the roster so that you can give us something else to talk about.
Yeah, hopefully.
Give us something to talk about, Steve.
Not any more Dodger signings.
Yeah. Fuck the Dodgers. Fuck the
Yeah,
Dodgers.
they're hard
Alrighty.
to beat.
Well, what'd you say?
Said they're gonna be hard to beat.
Oh, I thought you said RIP. I was like, wait, who died?
Nah, nah. Fucking Dodgers, bro.
Yeah, I know. They're crazy. All right.
Yeah.
Well, as mentioned from the outset, remember to give us a follow on Instagram, YouTube, and X. We're at Cup of Mets. Subscribe to the channel, whether it be on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your favorite podcasts. Download the SeatGeek app, punching code Cup of Mets at first purchase to get $20 off. And last but not least, head over to Smack and Sunflower Seeds, which shout out to the boys over at that company. They were named, I believe, in Forbes 30 under 30 or something along those lines. They were named at something big. I think it
Yeah.
was a little bit bigger than that, whatever. Hit them up for all the latest.
Yeah, their seeds are fire.
Seeds are so good. Get that variety pack. Punching code Ian05405 to get 10% off of any purchase. And for Maddie DeSantis, I'm Ian Bosniak. Thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you in a couple days. Good night, everyone, and let's go Mets. Please sign somebody.
Good night, everyone.